Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt here with Joseph Warren from Financial Planning HQ. After the financial focus, we're going to be talking about the Lindsay Clancy case, postpartum depression, and the fact that she killed her 3 children. But first, the financial focus. Joseph and his team specialize in helping folks build clear, confident path for their financial future. They use a process that is not about product sales or gathering assets to manage, but about giving the absolute best advice possible to a select number of clients. Joseph, welcome.
Always great to be on. Thank you, Todd.
I'm looking forward to continuing with your theme of mistakes in retirement. Are you making these financial mistakes in retirement? What's the first mistake you want to cover today?
Yeah, the first one I wanted to talk about is, I guess you could call it ignorance or retiring blind, but it's really guessing when it comes to when you should retire. And I believe my brother had a really great story about that, where he was talking about a teacher who was ready to retire, said she was ready to, take some time off. She had been working very hard as a teacher. And he looked at the numbers and she wasn't yet ready. And he had that conversation with him. That's one of our core principles, is to give our clients the unvarnished truth, even when it's uncomfortable to do, especially when it is. And he told her, you can, maybe in a few years be able to retire. Mm-hmm. And she was able to retire on her terms in just a few years with some planning. That's one side of it, but I've also seen the flip side of that. So I had a client come to me who was burnt out, just really exhausted, ready to stop working. Mm-hmm. And I ran the numbers, after doing the financial roadmap, looking at what's important to him, what his goals were. I ran the numbers, and there was 100% chance of success. And it was good news, but at the same time, I wish he had gotten to me sooner, because there was extra years where he worked there, extra years of stress, and he could have, quit working a lot sooner.
He worked too long.
Yep. So it's two sides of that. Maybe being confident when you shouldn't be confident, and being unconfident when you should have been more confident. But we really base it on the numbers, right? So we base it on your actual situation, and then the only emotions that are involved is the inspiring emotions that you gave us during your financial roadmap about what's important to you, exactly what you want to achieve and why. And then we come to you and tell you, this is the best course of action to take. So that's our approach, and it really makes it so there's no guesswork at all.
Wow, that makes total sense. When you know your exact numbers, the actual act of retiring gets a lot clearer. How can our listeners avoid these mistakes?
One thing that we do with clients, it's actually pretty simple to do, is we determine your exact financial independence number. That's the exact amount you need in investments and assets and savings to retire. And I wanted to offer to your listeners, if you want to give me a call at 210-444-2128, we will help you solve that, in a few minutes. We could do that in a 20-minute, 30-minute Zoom call. So if you call that number, 210-444-2128, talk about financial independence number, I'll give you a call today, and we can, determine that together. And if it's a good fit to move to the next step, we'll schedule your financial roadmap as well. We also do that Monte Carlo situation. So I talked about the chances of success. Mm-hmm. That Monte Carlo is really just, we run 1,000 simulations of different market conditions, from the worst of the worst to the best of the best. And based on that, we can determine with accuracy if you're going to have money at age 100, at end of life. And that's another thing that we do. And we make decisions based on that, making sure that you have your money last for the rest of your life, so you can enjoy your time in retirement. You can really, spend time with the grandkids, do what you want to do, and not have to worry about inflation in China or, some Scott Bessent or anything like that. Yeah.
So if you want Joseph and his team to walk you through calculating your financial independence number in just a few minutes, call him at 210-444-2128 today. What's another big mistake you see people making in retirement?
Another that I've seen is making decisions out of fear or uncertainty versus making decisions based on clarity and really knowing your situation. Early in my career, I think there's a few meetings that really stick in my mind that I can't forget. And one of them was an older couple who came to me and kind of looked kind of shy, maybe a little bit scared. And they told me that they had sold all their investments during the crash in 2008 and put them in CDs and put them in cash. And logically, I know that's not the right thing to do because it creates a compound problem. One of it is, you're locking in that loss. You're not taking part in the recovery that happened afterwards. But the other thing is by doing nothing, you're losing money each year to inflation.
Yeah, they traded market risk for inflation risk.
That's exactly right. So when I saw that, I always think that once you know your situation, we like to take the emotions out of it, like I said, except for those values that are important to you. There's a saying that we say a lot: when your values are clear, your decisions are easy. So when we start with that financial roadmap process, we want to know what those inspiring values are. Some people start with saying, it's security, but then it gets higher and higher level. Like, I want to build a legendary legacy, or I want to make a dent in the world. We want those to be the emotions you're making decisions off of, not fear. And we make it very clear. So that's our process. It's designed to take the complicated, make it very clear so you can make better decisions and have money be something that's working for you instead of something that's stressing you out.
Yeah. Can you give us an example of how this plays out beyond just the stock market?
Yeah. Even just, that's a great question. But even just, sometimes it's not fear, I think beyond the stock market and things like that, there's been some people that we've seen that they weren't even scared. They were just too busy or they just didn't know. I've had a few business owner clients come to me and they weren't taking advantage of the S corporation structure. And that's not something that I expect your audience to be researching or business owners to really need to know. That's what we're here for. We made sure they were getting the maximum tax benefit by setting their salaries to the right amount, maximizing their QBI deduction, qualified business income deduction. Again, if you want to research that and do that, you're not a good fit for our team. You can do it on your own, but we really make sure that you have the right numbers and you're making the absolute best decisions, and then we answer to you and make sure everything's getting done.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
But the point is, real quick, is we saved them tens of thousands of dollars in taxes. And again, I wish they had come to us sooner because that could have been more years of having that money work for them.
Right. That reminds me, I read an article about the government policy under Section 3111 of Title 31. The Treasury recently increased the amount of government bonds that can buy back to counter a sell-off in the bond market. But the Federal Reserve Chairman opposes injecting liquidity this way because it fights his efforts to fight inflation. How does the average millionaire deal with this type of government policy situation where the Treasury does one thing and the Fed chairman does another?
I would just say real quick that our clients are not worried about that at all. And not only that, our money managers, we don't just work with any money manager. So we say we have a team, the CPA, the insurance agent, estate planning attorney. We work with the best, right? And our money managers were talking about this 1 or 2 years ago. The pressure to lower interest rates because they're going to have to pay that $40 trillion in debt, almost $40 trillion, and they're going to want to do it at lower interest rates. But at the same time, inflation being a factor. So our clients have been well positioned for a long time with precious metals, even a small amount of hedging with digital assets, and they're positioned so they'll be protected from long-term inflation, which we see as a big risk for everybody.
Yeah, that's good to hear. We've gone over a lot of retirement mistakes over the past 2 episodes. What's the absolute biggest mistake people make in retirement?
One word: inaction, doing nothing. I think that's something I see a lot. And when you do that, you kind of get the default. Instead of you forging the future that you want to create, you kind of just get whatever's left over. So one of my favorite poems, I remember on Thanksgiving we were talking about poems, and I don't know how good I am at reading them, but 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that's made all the difference. I think about that because it's funny because he was actually making fun of his friend who was scared to make the right decision. But there's truth in it. The decisions we make today really matter. The decisions you make with your finances are going to set you on a better course or a worse course. So we encourage you to call us to complete your financial roadmap. It's just a 90-minute meeting, no obligation, and it's going to be valuable to you whether we work together or not. And during that time, we're going to really create a vision of what you want to do in the future. So if you want to schedule that, no obligation, it's not going to be a sales pitch or anything like that. call me at 210-444-2128. That's 210-444-2128. Or email me at joseph@financialhq.net. You can just email me the word roadmap and I'll get back to you within a day.
We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the Lindsay Clancy case. Stay tuned.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Most families don't realize they have hidden legal blind spots until it's too late. Wills, trusts, Medicaid planning, even protecting a business. These are the kinds of issues attorney Todd Marquardt helps uncover before they become problems. Todd is the host of Talk Law Radio, where each week he guides listeners through the legal challenges families, veterans, and business owners face, while showing them the practical steps to protect what matters most. Catch Talk Law Radio, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, 6:30 a.m. The Word, and now in Houston on AM 1070 and 103.3 FM The Answer, or anytime on YouTube. Planning isn't just about documents. It's about peace of mind, security for loved ones, and building a legacy that lasts. Don't wait for a crisis. Do it before you die.